Micah 6, verse 14. We ended on verse 14, but we'll pick up there again and cover some more points. Micah 6, verse 14. Thou shalt eat, but not be satisfied, and thy casting down shall be in the midst of thee. And thou shalt take hold, but shall not deliver. And that which thou deliverest will I give up to the sword. God's not happy. Now what he's talking about here is the nation of Israel and how he's going to demolish it. Of course, he's done it twice in the past. And if you count recent history, many more times. But there's one big one coming up. And that's where this one's going to point. Look at it in Haggai. Haggai chapter 1, verse 6. Good luck finding that one. Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah.
Thank you, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Haggai 1:6. Toby, you have sown much.
That's a true statement.
Now he's talking about planting the field. You have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Sounds like America, doesn't it? There's just barely enough to cover what you need. This is the way God's going to do a whole entire nation. They're all going to be lacking. Now, I facetiously say that. God always takes care of his children. But when the rich people are going through this very same thing, there's a problem. And God says, I'm doing that to a nation to wake them up. And they didn't wake up. Look at it in Isaiah 9. Isaiah 9, verse 20. So you get hungry. David said, when you get hungry, you steal. And that's what happens. If we were to really get hungry, you'd start taking food anywhere you could get it. You revert back to an animal. Just your base nature. Isaiah 9, verse 20. And he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry. And he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm. It's going to get so bad, they're going to go into cannibalism of themselves. That's right. He says, as a matter of fact, when they do that, I'll make it so even though it's meat and their own body they're eating, it won't satisfy them. They're going to very drastic measures to get nourishment. God says, you don't get nourishment unless I give it. Wow. They're already starting that. They've got this thing where you can send in your body cells, some way of collecting it, and they put it in a petri dish and grow it, and you grow your own meat that was started by your own body. Craziness, just craziness. Now that's a way of making it seem less cannibalistic than it really is. But I think one day it's going to not be so pretty. It's going to be actually your arm you're eating, because that's what God says. I think this technology goes away at some point. All our scientific inventions and all that junk, not going to be here anymore. I think an EMP goes off and blows out all this high-tech gadgetry we have. The only thing left is what the Antichrist sets up. He controls it, so nobody gets to do anything except for what he controls. And that's the world they'll be in. Luke chapter 12. Luke 12, verse 16. God always gives a man a warm-up. He says, return to me. And he slowly, just like a boiling pot, he simmers it, and then it gets a little warmer and a little warmer. He doesn't just automatically start out with smashing a person in the ground. Here's a rich man. Watch what happens. Luke 12, verse 16. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. Now, did the rich man make the good ground? No, that was God given. He should have been giving praise to God that he had a parcel of ground that was working. Verse 17. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, because I have no room where to bestow my fruits? No God in any of that. And he said, this will I do. Look at all the personal pronouns in here. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. A little stingy here, isn't he? He's rich. He doesn't need it. How about giving it away? It wouldn't have been special ground if his wasn't better than the average. Okay, you have more than the average. Start giving it away. Don't be stingy. When you got more than you need, you don't need it. It's that simple. Verse 19. And I will say unto my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided? So he that laid up treasure for himself, so is he that layeth up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward God. That's what Mike was talking about, putting your stuff on your hearse, putting your furniture on your hearse to go to the funeral. You can't take it with you. You gone, you gone. All of that was for naught. Ecclesiastes 2. The common denominator of trouble coming is this: no God. Now we understand that, and we think we're safe because we're Christians. But how many of our thoughts have we excluded him from? Your next problem, you start working on trying to solve, don't you? No, you should put him right in there. That's easier said than done. I know. I'm preaching to everybody. I got a mirror back there. Ecclesiastes 2, verse 23. For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This also is vanity. You know what happens to the rich man who's only focused on self? He can never rest. When you've got God taking care of you, you can rest because you ain't worried about what happens in the night. That, I think about these rich billionaires, and we think of them as being, lucky or whatever. They're not. They've got to fight and scrape and look because everybody's after it. That would be a frustrating, unhappy existence. And that's most of them. For a Christian, it shouldn't be so. God takes care of us. Our main concern is, what are we supposed to be doing? You just show me what to do. He gives you one little step at a time. And that's all we got to worry about. All we should worry about. He said in our text, thy casting down shall be in the midst of thee. That casting down. Now what does he mean by that? In Psalm 42, verse 5, David says, why art thou cast down? That is, we understand that. When somebody is sad, we say they're down. They're feeling down. I don't know if they use that phrase anymore. They did when I was growing up. Downcast. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance. Now this is what you and I should be doing. Because you're going to wake up, and during the time you slept overnight, you know what happened that you were not aware of? The flesh thought it got in control. It said, he's sleeping, we'll take over. And you woke up and you were in a bad mood. But you weren't when you went to bed. That happens. You know what's going on? You're cast down, just like David. And David says, I don't even know why I'm in a bad mood. Why are you cast down? Start hoping in God. There you go. He says, verse 6. Oh my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore will I remember thee from the land of Jordan, and of the Hermonites from the hill Mizar. He says, I'm going to reflect back on the God I know. Now, when you do that as a Christian, if you've been saved, I was about to say for longer than 5 years, but it's probably longer than 5 minutes. You've got something you can reflect back on how good God is. Saved only 5 minutes, reflect back. You're not going to hell anymore. Okay, that's pretty good. You've been saved for 5 years. You've got a whole bushel basket full of blessings that you can talk about. Psalm 43, verse 5. David does this same phrase over and over. Psalm 43, verse 5. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? It's like he's telling himself off. The world knows nothing of this. You know what the world says? The world says, love yourself. No, that's not what God says. God says, deny yourself. God says, give yourself a pep talk, and by that I mean you tell him to sit down and shut up. That's what David's doing. He's saying, boy, you don't even make any sense. Why are you unhappy about this? Hope in God. If you've got God, you've got hope. What's the problem? For I shall yet praise him, who is the health of my countenance and my God. Okay, that's one way that cast down is used in the Bible, but there's another way. Cast down in the Bible, you know God's got one plot of land on this globe, and it's Israel. And of Israel, he has one spot he's chosen, he says in the Old Testament, to place my name. That's Jerusalem, the highest point of Israel. So you know what? If you were on Jerusalem's highest point and you looked over the western edge, you know what you would see? The Valley of Gehenna. You know what that is? That's where they served Baal. Cast their babies off into it. I'd say that's being cast down. One day God's going to set his throne in Jerusalem again. The same thing's going to happen. You'll find it in Ezekiel. He's going to open up an opening to hell right there in that Valley of Gehenna where they used to serve Baal. He's going to open it up, and that will be hell. You read Matthew chapter 5 and you find about the 3 judgments you can be judged for. And that's why he says you're in danger of hellfire. That's a physical walking being in danger of hellfire. Why? Because he could literally be thrown in right there, whole body, if the judgment came down that he was to be condemned to hell. That's being cast down, all the way down. Look at 2 Chronicles 25. Second Chronicles 25:12. We don't think much of it because this is ancient warfare, but in ancient times they used very primitive and cruel means of punishing their enemies. 2 Chronicles 25:12, he says, and other 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away captive, and brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they were all broken in pieces. Whew. Now that's a bad way to not die, but wish you were. Come down off the cliff, be thrown off the cliff, and have your bones all broken, and be stuck there, can't move. That's tough. Amos chapter 4. Amos 4 verse 3. We're seeing our phrase cast down has both a figurative and a literal meaning. Amos 4 verse 3. Ye shall go out at the breaches, every cow at that which is before her, and ye shall cast them into the place, saith the Lord. The palace, saith the Lord. That's physically being thrown. He's calling people cows here. It fits. You notice it's all the ones he's referring to here are cows, not bulls, so it's all female. I get in trouble for that one later. Psalm 89 verse 44. Psalm 89:44. They were very demonstrative, the Israelites and, all the Middle East. They used their hands to talk. If you tie their hands, they can't say a word. Everything is big and exaggerated. And the same with when they were mad. Watch this. Psalm 89, verse 44. Thou hast made his glory to cease and cast his throne down to the ground. Throw it down. Ezekiel 6, verse 4. Ezekiel 6, verse 4. And your altars shall be desolate, and your images shall be broken. And I will cast down, who's he casting down here? Your slain men before your idols. Where are the idols? That's those images. They're going to be broken. Now he says, what I'm going to do is your slain men. Are slain men alive or dead? They're already dead. He pulls them back up, the dead bodies, and throws them down again. They're making a show here. That cast down has a physical aspect to it as well. Psalm 36, verse 1. Psalm 36, verse 1. The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart that there is no fear of God before his eyes. That's a person who's already cast himself down. Think of it. God is high and lifted up. Now, if we say he doesn't exist, we've decided our point on earth is the highest point. If you think this is heaven, you got problems. There are people who think that. They think that we're bringing in the kingdom and we're making it better and better, and it's going to get so great that Jesus is going to look down and say, man, y'all got something going down there. I'm going to come down and join you. Doesn't work that way.
Safe for me now.
Yeah, right. Look at Jeremiah 45. Of course, what's going to happen is the Jews, in both of their exiles, to Sennacherib and Nebuchadnezzar, see what's coming, but they see it too late. That's what these minor prophets are all about. They're saying, hey, I'm warning you, it's coming. And when they see it too late, here's what they do. Jeremiah 45, verse 1. The word that Jeremiah the prophet spake to Barak, the son of Nerah. I'm probably saying all those words wrong. When he had written these words in the book at the mouth of Jeremiah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel unto thee, O Barak? Not Obama, but thou didst say, Woe is me now, for the Lord hath added grief to my sorrow. I fainted in my sighing, and I find no rest. Thus shalt thou say unto him, The Lord saith thus, Behold, that which I have built I will break down. That's all of Israel, Jerusalem. And that which I have planted I will pluck up, even this whole land. I've never done this. There are people who do this. When they get mad, they start destroying their own junk. I don't know. It's just different personalities. That's what's going on here. God says, I'm mad. I'll show you how mad I am. I'll tear up my own stuff. That's what he's doing. Verse 5. And seekest thou great things for thyself? Seek them not. For behold, I will bring evil upon all flesh, saith the Lord. But thy life will I give unto thee for a prey in all places whither thou goest. Wow. That's when God drives them out of his land. He says, you've cursed the land. I can't even stand the land. I'll tear it up. I know it's mine, but I'm going to tear it up. I'm going to drive you out and make you wish you were dead. but I'm going to keep your life. I'm going to save your life. Sound like something in the tribulation, doesn't it? They'll seek for death and can't find it because he's punishing, and he wants them alive to not enjoy it. 2 Kings 24. Second Kings 24, verse 14. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. Now, he's given them up. He's given them up to swords. When Sennacherib and Nebuchadnezzar come through, they're not coming through to give sanctions. You know, we do that. We sanction a nation. You can't sell candy bars to us anymore. We're not buying them. No, that's not the way God does it. He sends an army in that has no pity, but they have good swords, and they use them. Jeremiah 50, verse 37. Jeremiah 50, verse 37. We kind of read over this because we know that Babylon and we know that Assyria were strong empires. But never forget the fact that so was Israel. Remember Joshua's days? Nobody came against him. Remember David's days? He slaughtered them all. You realize I just heard this I was listening through, Toby had Joshua on the other day and I was listening to it. I didn't realize it, but when they came into Canaan, Joshua brought them in, and then they started subduing the land. Do you realize that Joshua subdued all the way back to the border of Egypt? He subdued Goshen. That's where the children of Israel were when they were in Egypt. They were given Goshen. That's some pretty powerful stuff right there. So Israel was a mighty strong nation. But look what happens when God gets mad at them. Jeremiah 50, verse 37. The sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. And they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Whew. Well, that's what he said in Deuteronomy 32. I'll read it to you. Deuteronomy 32:25. He said, the sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also, and the man of gray hairs. God says, you want to walk contrary to me? Here's what will happen. And it did happen. And then it did happen again. And then in modern times, it's continued to happen. Well, you know what? They've still not turned to God. Judaism is one step away from Satanism. You know the star they got? That pentagram? Yeah. That's an idol. That's the same thing they picked up when they went into captivity the first time. And they're still supporting it and pushing it. There's these bumper stickers that Christians have. Stand with Israel or whatever, peace to Israel, pray for the peace of Israel. But they put the Star of David on there. I would not have that on my vehicle. That's a curse. He tells you two places in the Bible that's a curse. Once in the Old Testament, once in the book of Acts. I wouldn't dare put that thing on mine. Jeremiah 52, verse 8. Jeremiah 52, verse 8. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and his army was scattered from him. When the Israelite army, the one that God said, I'll make it so that 10 of you will put 1,000 to flight, and so forth and so on. Now it's them that are the Waffle House special. Scattered, smothered, chunked. All over the field. Micah 6, verse 15. Micah 6, verse 15. I was trying to get to the end of this chapter. I don't know if we'll make it or not. Micah 6, verse 15. Let's see, we started at 6:30, so we got a few minutes. He says, thou shalt sow, but thou shalt not reap. He says you're going to do all the work, but it's going to be for nothing. Thou shalt tread the olives, but thou shalt not anoint thee with oil. The sweet wine, but shalt not drink wine. For the statutes of Omri. Remember who he is? Omri? Anybody know who that is?
His daughter.
It's anybody else? Suggestion? Ahab's dad, King Omri.
I was going to say a heathen.
That's who Jezebel comes from.
Daughter.
Yeah, bad stuff. For the statutes of Omri are kept. That is, that pagan, that's when Jezebel brought in witchcraft and false idol worship into the nation. And Ahab did nothing about it. Welcome it in. He says, and all the works of the house of Ahab, and you walk in their counsels. That is, ask your horoscope if you're going to have a good day or a bad day. You know how many people are doing that all over the world? They look at some phony, it's like fortune cookie. You know, there's a sucker born every minute and a whole bunch of them. He says, you're fallen prey to false counselors and you're eating it up. That I should make thee a desolation and the inhabitants thereof a hissing. Therefore you shall bear the reproach of my people. Let's find it happen. 1 Kings 16. 1 Kings 16, 31. 1 Kings 16:31. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, that's the one that made the calves, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. That's what happens. Same problem that Solomon had. God told him, if you take a heathen wife, you'll end up doing what she commands. And that's what he did. It's always been that way. God said it from the very beginning all the way through. Now, I'm not saying that you can't marry outside of your race. I don't see that anywhere in the Bible. I know Israel was told not to do that. That was a different thing altogether. They were a nation of priests, were supposed to be, and set apart, sanctified. You're a Gentile. He don't care about Gentiles. Your flesh means nothing. He's going to remake it. But, by the same token, in 1 Corinthians, he says, you better not marry outside of your family, meaning another Christian. You marry the heathen influences happen. Just will. In Revelation 2. Revelation 2, verse 20. Influence of the house of Omri didn't stop with Ahab and Jezebel. She had her puppet husband running or in office, and then she ran for it for a while. Revelation 2, verse 20. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants, to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Jezebel has changed her face makeup, and now she's going to portray herself in the tribulation time period as a religious person. We'll probably call her Tammy Faye.
The mascara is
No.
this is not the same.
Not the same. No,
Jezebel.
it's the spirit of Jezebel.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Jezebel's been dead and gone. Genesis 49. Genesis 49:16. He says, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Now, why in the world did I put that in here? I got the wrong reference on that, I think. I don't know how that fits. If y'all can figure that one out, good luck. I got it in Judges 17. Oh, this is probably it. Yeah. Judges 17, verse 10. Watch where Catholicism starts. People don't realize this, but Catholicism started way back in the Old Testament. Way back. And Micah said unto him, Dwell with me, and be unto me a father and a priest. And I will give thee 10 shekels of silver by the year, and a suit of apparel, and thy victuals. So the Levite went in. What usually happens is, in order to be convincing, you have to have enough truth to veneer the wickedness. Look around and you'll see it in most big church groups that have been around for a while. What happens is it starts out as good, and then slowly one thing slips and then the next thing, but they've still got plenty of good. I went to Bellevue Baptist in Memphis when I was there, and that thing just blew my mind. Adrian Rogers was a preacher, and he is a hard preacher. He preaches it straight, used the King James most of the time, but the congregation was anything but wild liberals. But he was preaching hard. Nobody was listening. But they were flocking in, 20,000 people on a Sunday morning. And that just boggled my mind. How come it's not taking effect? Little changes here, a little slip here, a little back off the standards here. We'll bring them in. Well, it affects something. Maybe in ways you don't even realize until it's too late. Revelation 18. Revelation 18, verse 24. The devil's not nice. He does this thing where people think, if I serve him, he'll do me good. No, he won't. The movie stars and the musicians and all that, they sell themselves to the devil. Now, not all of them, but a lot of them, in order to get fame and wealth and popularity. But their end is anything but. I mean, while they're on earth. And then they go out into the real trouble. Revelation 18:24. And in her was found the blood of prophets, and of saints, and of all that were slain upon the earth. Now, I understand some of this is because they're martyrs. However, I don't think all of it. I think some of it is this. They compromised and joined. Maybe they can make a difference. I'll be the one that makes a difference. Even though God said, come out of her, my people, or I'll slay you along with them. And a lot of them go down. All right, on that happy note, we made it through the chapter. We'll start Micah 7:1 next week.